Hi everyone, welcome to Play-agricola.com's France Deck, not France Deck anymore, G4G5 tournament, casting a round 3 game between Tom, jonswar, and Axiom. I'm William, and joining me today is Kimball.
Hi, everyone.
So we're going to hop right into this game. Hopefully we'll be able to add a few more people. We're kind of scrambling to get this up and running, but we're just going to start casting this game, and if we can add more people as things go, um, that would be awesome. So, do you want to talk about the first occupation that we just saw, Andy, the
Yeah, so
scrounger?
it's nice that they let off with the G5 occupation here, the Scrounger. So this is like another race, or I mean, fighting for resources or occupation. You get fourth. Uh, oh, it's actually quite different. I thought it was a 4-3-2-1 wood occupation, but it's not. It's slightly different, a different take on that sort of occupation. So you get 4 wood, 3 clay, 2 stone, 1 building resource if there's still 9, 6, 3, 1 rounds left to play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much like, Church Warden, those type of cards, but different types of resource. And then at the end of the game, each player with at least 1 of each building resource gets 3 bonus points.
Yeah.
So it's one of those shared bonus points occupations with a slightly different take. But anyway, nice to always lead off with one of those, get your 4 wood up and going, get you a little ahead. And then next up, Donba played the Perpetual Student, the always fun, randomly play occupations from your hand
Yeah.
occupation.
Yeah, so interesting to see what kind of cards he drafted. Obviously, something like Scrounger's a little more timing. Um, it's a very like a bit more of a timing-oriented card because you definitely want to get it out at. I actually think interesting thing about Scrounger is I think it would be. I've never seen it, but it would be interesting to see if someone play it for the 2 stone. With 3 rounds to go.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
haven't
mean,
seen anyone try that.
yeah, definitely with the different types of resources that you get, it's a lot more flexible and makes it much more interesting to play later and see what happens. But played it right away, and I feel like generally with this group of players, most people are going to share those 3 points because everyone is pretty good at planning ahead here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's
it's a fairly easy thing to make. And interestingly with this card is sometimes it'll make like if you're renovating to a stone house, for example, and you're going to lose your last read, Scrounger basically says don't reno because it's not worth it. It's only going to be like a 1 point or a 0 point action.
yeah, it can definitely affect those types of decisions.
Mhm. So nothing too unusual in the start yet. We do have Axiom plowing a field, so be interested to see if Tom goes on starting player. And he does. And
It's
another G5 card.
Oh yeah, the seal. Yeah, this one's an interesting one. So it costs 1 wood. It's a minor improvement. Takes has no requirements, and then whenever you play an occupation, you get a clay. Yeah, it's a fun one. Just kind of a little extra bonus for playing occupations.
Yeah.
And then he does play an occupation, which is the old stone buyer.
Yeah.
That
And this is quite incredible to me, especially with all the stats that we've had. People are so scared of playing this guy because of the stats show that if you play him, it makes you less likely to win.
Yeah, I mean, I this is very surprising to me. I mean, Tom is a good player, so something must be up. But yeah, Stonebuyer is generally pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But if you just really need stone and can get something really strong out, it might be worth it. And I
And
expect that to happen.
and you know what? He does have something strong he needs to get out. He just personal messaged me. He has Mason and Mansion.
Okay. Yeah, so he's just going for big stone strategy,
Hmm.
big house, and lots of points.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting
So if he
to
if he
see.
can pull it off, he'll have a lot of points. But in the
Yep.
process, he has to be careful not to give too much food to his opponents.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that is of course always the reason why Stone Buyer drags you down is because it actually just makes it easy for everyone else to feed everyone.
Hmm.
Uh, anyway, so then we had John Swar get a second occupation, the Plowmaker, an old reliable IDEC
Hmm.
occupation or EDEC occupation that you can, whenever you plow, you can pay a food to plow an extra.
Yeah. And Tom gets a great 2 actions. He gets read stone food and a free occupation, so that's a pretty good round.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that's nice about Stone Buyer is that sometimes it does just scare people away from read stone food, and then that means you can get it with your second action.
Hmm.
I feel like on this site, most times the metagame is people elect to not be scared. They just say, oh, sure, it's 3 food and a read then,
Yeah.
so I'll always take it. But I've definitely seen some games where people say, well, I'm not going to get my stone. Well, I'm not going to take read stone food. And then the person with Stone Buyer can always take it late. And that then it works out to be very strong, I think.
Yeah. So we have a bit of an interesting counterplay of sorts from jonswar with the clay roof. I mean, so if people are being scared off of reedstone food, then you want to be taking big piles of clay and wood, which the clay roof, of course, allows you to do and still build your room.
Yep.
So pretty good start. Um, Yeah, nothing too. I mean, like with the seal, I would guess that we're going to see Tom, as well as, of course, with the perpetual student. I would guess that we see Tom and Damba aim to play a lot of occupations. Axiom
Yeah.
hasn't got any out yet.
Yeah, but he could be. There's plenty of reasons for that, and that's one thing that's nice about Grant's deck, and also G4 G5 has a little support for that too. Is the late occupation strategy.
Hmm.
Um, there's lots of things that help you, not want to always rush occupations in the first stage.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got some of those cards. And so here now, Donba is actually going for his random occupation, and he's rolling the random die, and we'll see what he gets. And it's Master Baker, which is a pretty terrible one to start with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yes.
so E deck, probably one of the worst occupations
Yes.
in that deck. Whenever another player bakes bread, you can also bake bread. And if you take bake action yourself, you receive 1 additional food. So it's really narrow, and the extra food bonus is usually, oh
Not
dear,
worth playing it.
oh dear. He says that is the wrong occupation. Uh-oh. Uh-huh. Okay. Apparently what must have happened is he alphabetized his cards wrong.
Oh.
Um, oh dear. So he's saying it's the magician instead.
So
Uh,
magician is a useful card in this situation where
yeah,
Master
much
Baker
better
is
in this
not.
situation. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay, well they'll have to resolve this. Donba's a good guy, and I think I don't think. Uh, oh, I don't know. He's saying it is Baker. Okay, so I think he might be messing up English here is possible. So he's saying it is Baker after all, but he did reveal that he has magician.
Yeah, he's just
Okay.
having difficulty with his alphabetical order.
Yeah, which he's not. I don't think he's a native English speaker, so
Yeah.
we shouldn't get too down on him for that. Okay, so it looks like they've got it solved, and they moved on, and now Tom. Oh yeah, so Axiom went to Reedstone Food, didn't care about the stone getting bought, now has a ton of food and resources for room. Tom
Yeah.
bought his stone, and then Tom played another occupation, the borrower, which is the get 7 food and 2 begging cards,
Yep.
and then you can pay 3 food to discard begging cards.
And this is like quite an acceleration card in that it's going to give you enough food to do a lot of stuff early on, but of course you need to make up for that in the late game where you have to actually pay more than you would normally to get rid of those begging cards.
Right, yeah, but I really do like the borrower. It's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like lets you get a huge head start early on, lets you take some risky moves.
Yep.
Um,
And also the fact that you are able to, yeah, to what you said with the risky moves, you're able to take a third or fourth beggar and pay them off later, whereas normally you
yep.
don't have a way to get rid of begging cards.
Yeah, or just the situation where it's like it gets to round 4 and you only have 1 or 2 food, but you can just take a pile of resources with your first action
Yeah,
because you can drop borrower, gain all
if
that food.
yeah, if you need to, yeah. Well, and especially with the stone buyer as well.
Oh yeah, right. Well, he's using it to probably just power his stone buyer.
Hmm.
Looks like.
So excuse me. So I'll be interested to see if he ends up like, do you think with the Stone Buyer and knowing that he has Mason Mansion, are we going to see him play like the Well, for example?
So I have gone down this road before, and I usually kind of get into exactly that situation where I'm just like, well, I have the 3 stone, more will come, I'll buy the well,
Yeah,
and then usually wind up not having enough stone
at the end of the game,
at the
yeah.
end of the game to get everything out. So if it were me, I would buy the well and then probably mess up my late game. Tom is pretty good, so he might figure out a way to either do both or get everything that or just avoid the well.
hmm
Um, yeah, I mean I always buy the well basically. Well, not always, but very often.
Yeah.
So it's usually what winds up happening. Um, so I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it. Also, Tom is really good at kind of pulling off these big strategies. So he
Yes.
he probably will bring it all together.
He the
Wow, and he's going for food.
hmm So he's thinking he's gonna just sink as much as he can now into having a really good game later.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what it seems like. So interestingly, Axiom had to think for a while because he had resources for a room, but Dunba, who's ahead of him in the turn order, also had resources for a room.
yeah.
And so Axiom was probably thinking about whether he should take start player or not
Yeah.
to build the first room, but he didn't. He just took wood,
Yeah.
and so now Donba has first crack at a room.
Yeah, so that's so what do you think that so it's kind of a dilemma. I mean, if it was anyone other than the player immediately in front of you,
Yeah,
probably you would choose the starting player almost no matter what there. But
yeah,
considering that it is considering that Domba's sitting right in front of him, what do you think that's a good decision?
yeah. No, I think I definitely agree with that analysis. Like if the first person to build a room is right before you, then that's probably also okay, and then you can delay. And I've definitely made that choice as well,
hmm
where it's just like, well, if that person builds and then holds on to start player to take family grow, then you're sitting in a great position. Um, so yeah,
And we have some more shenanigans with the Stone Buyer. We have Village Elder. Now, of course, with a card like Village Elder out, rewarding people playing improvements, they're wanting to play, usually to win Village Elder, you want to play 2 or maybe 3 major improvements.
hmm
And one of those for sure are going to cost you stone. Now, with the Stone Buyer buying up all the stone, um, be interesting to see how Tom manages his stone, if he ends up buying a couple majors, and of course if that sets him back with the Mason
yeah,
Mansion.
yep. But it is definitely a nice play for him because he gets the 4 wood and the clay from the seal, so
Yeah,
he's just gonna make use of all those occupation bonuses.
yeah,
Then jonswar takes start player with another interesting new G5 card. Played the kitchen cabinet here, which takes 2 occupations, doesn't cost anything, and it's just whenever you select the minor improvement action on a space, you can play a major instead. So now he can start player plus major or family growth plus major.
yeah,
And with his big pile of clay, I assume that means he's going to be getting fireplace and, cooking hearth
yep,
fairly soon, especially with Village Elder out.
yep. I absolutely agree.
And then Dunbar went for another random occupation, got Branch Collector, which is the WM deck card. Whenever you pay clay or stone for stuff, you get wood. Um, and then Axiom got his cooking hearth on.
Yeah. So Bridge Collector's kind of I mean it's an okay card, but we don't see it played too often. What do you think's the biggest like why do people shy away from this card?
Well, it's just, if you think about it, it's so what it gives you wood on clay or stone, extension, renovation, or improvements. So you're gonna get, maybe at most probably 8 or 9 wood, like if you have a lot of stuff that keys off of it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like assemble all of that. You have to kind of draft your miners around it, and then expect to be able to build and renovate, maybe build in clay or renovate a lot.
Yep.
It's just, for me, it's just like I
It's a
grab
card that
him
makes you
late.
do too much.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've definitely had games where I'm like kind of had him and it affected my draft of my minors, and then I was like, okay, he'll actually give me a bunch of wood this game, and then kind of like I just don't have an opportunity to play him because getting that one wood isn't all that useful, and then it's too late, and like I don't know, I just find he's always just too much work
Yep.
for not enough reward. Um,
Yeah, so we have another G5 card, the Winter Pond. Now this is a card that's very comparable to something like Duck Pond or
mhm.
Goose Pond, which are one of the highest rated miners in all of Agricola.
Yeah,
But Winter Pond, interestingly, doesn't give you the three wood or the three
food.
food immediately. It's spread out over consecutive harvests. So I'll be interested to see the stats, like how much does that affect it, because if you look at it, it's a point, it's three food, and it costs three occupations. Well, that's almost identical to the duck pond or the goose
Yep.
pond.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you, that two food for the next harvest. It only gives you one food for the next harvest. So I wonder.
I expect it to be somewhat to be comparable, slightly below, but almost as good as Goose Pond and Duck Pond.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's a point, it's a free point. It costs three, doesn't cost you anything, and gives you food. I think it's very solid.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to comment, like, why is Donba bothering with perpetual student for these terrible occupations? I mean, he must have some good ones in there, but he also seems like he has a handful of high occupation cost stuff. Oh ho ho! And he has the circus manager here.
Okay.
So that's also very strong setup. Although I
I'm a
would,
little surprised that he didn't play it with his first card, to be honest.
yeah, I was going to say I definitely would have sequenced that differently. I would have done circus manager first. So circus manager is whenever you play your last person on
Traveling players.
traveling players. Oh gosh, he did play his occupations wrong.
Because he could have played Circus Manager first, then gone on Traveling Players, and even played Magician, and then played Perpetual Student. Like, now that
Yeah,
we
and he's
know.
actually saying that in comment right now. And I hope they aren't too upset about this, but he totally did do his occupations not in alphabetical order. Anyway,
Right, because Magician, of course, will come before Master Baker,
yeah,
and
well,
he did a
hopefully
3.
it won't quite matter. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can let them play through it and see what happens. Um, interestingly, yeah, so Tom then played an occupation for the water carrier, so clearly he is aiming for the
Yes,
well,
yes, he
um,
is planning on playing the well, which is
and
going
he's
to
going to
give
get
him.
a pile of food.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great setup that he's got.
hmm So I'm really interested to know. I wonder how early he saw the Stone Buyer. I really wonder, did he have Village Elder Stone Buyer in his first pack and then planned on getting Stone Buyer back and did everything around that? I mean, he did say that he is Mason,
I,
so in order for him to get Mason and Village Elder, Axiom's got to have a really good occupation in his first pile, I would think.
I would think so, yeah. So I would think, well, yeah, it depends on, Tom had one of those two in his first pack, yeah, probably Mason or Village Elder. And then Axiom must have had something strong with, yeah, with the other one.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, I think you can usually expect Stonebuyer to come around, though. I mean, it's just people just treat it so shabbily. Like for what you said earlier, it's just not very good.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not saying that he picked Stonebuyer highly. I'm saying that it seems like with a card like Water Carrier, with a card like Borrower, perhaps he picked those higher than he normally would have. Because, to be honest, we sometimes, like, especially a card like Water Carrier, don't even see him play it at all.
Right, that's true.
So I'm wondering if he saw the Stonebuyer relatively early and thought in the back of his mind, well, I can definitely get that back.
Yeah, possibly. And that's probably something like that happened.
hmm
Um, But I want to comment now on kind of the ordering of what happened here. So Donba had that first room.
Yep.
And now family growth hasn't come up, so Donba has been playing the standard. I'm going to take start player and hold on to it, so I'll get the first family growth. And this is exactly kind of Axiom was able to kind of jump in here and build his room, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Axiom said, I don't need to build first room because Donba will be the one to do it.
Yep.
And then if family growth comes up late, he can sneak in.
Right.
So it's really a good setup for Axiom. Although he missed out on the sheep grab here with Tom jumping on them, so I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out.
So one thing that we haven't talked about yet, this is the second game of their 3-game series. So the points from the first game, Axiom's at 48, jonswar is at 47, Donba's at 39, and Tom is at 38. So
wow.
Axiom and jonswar are both within a point of each other, and Donba Tom are both within a point of each other. And then there's, 9 points between the two sets. So
Okay.
if Tom can do everything that he wants to do this game, I mean, at the moment, I can definitely see him making up that point difference.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting spread. But yeah, it's only game 2, so I don't think anyone, maybe Tom, I'm sure, well, if he saw those cards, I would draft them, but he probably felt pressured to look for some high point ceiling cards.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he has them. But still, it's only game 2, so it's not like there's huge, no one's going to go all out to take anyone down or anything like that, I would think.
Yeah, that's very true. So we have another new G5 card. This is the Resource Dealer. Now this is a card that I am a huge fan of. The reason is because the way that we've interpreted the ruling for this card is that you can use multiple resources at a time to pay for something. So for example, if you play this card, you can get a fireplace or a cooking hearth for 1 less clay. Then you can build a room for a wood and a reed, and then you can get like a pottery or an oven for a lot cheaper, which I think is, especially with Village Elder in the game, would be a really nice sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that I do like this card too. Yeah, it's definitely a neat little another take on getting resources off of an occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get those resources whenever you build a room or improvement or renovate. And that 2 stone that are in there are going to be a big deal in this game.
Yeah.
Where there's a stone is tough to come by.
Yeah. So we have Cabbage Lover out for Axiom. Now, I think this is a really interesting card in this game because normally you want to be spending, big piles of clay on improvements like cooking hearth, fireplace, whatever. I wonder if Axiom is thinking, I got no chance at that Village Elder bonus, so instead of playing for, getting lots of clay to do improvements, I'm going to get lots of clay to turn it into bonus points, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Cabbage Lover in general. It's just a really nice, gives you a vegetable, so you can get vegetables going early. And then if you manage to have some sort of engine off of veggies, then you can, easily just convert those clay into bonus points.
Yeah.
So it's it gives you a vegetable when you play it, and then for each vegetable you convert into food, you can put a clay on the card. And then at the end of the game, you get up to 5 bonus points for 5 clay on the card. So, I mean, it's just one of those that's really great. It's got hey, for yearly veggie and some other stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It has even more utility than just the vegetable.
Yeah. All right, so Tom built that well, put a ton of food on the board. And now Dunba has finally gotten to take this late family grow that's come up, and played a simple fireplace, used that clay from Resource Dealer, Branch Collector triggered, so he's kind of got, his pieces coming together.
Yep.
It seems like.
Yeah, and then if he did want to build another room, he could use the top two things, or of
Yep.
course he could play an improvement and then Reno or
Yeah.
whatever.
So now we have another interesting situation where Tom can kind of, despite having this weird stone buyer getting majors thing going on, he can actually jump in with a room, which he does. Um, and Donba commented, I think appropriately, that Tom is just owning.
Yes,
I think that is the situation.
yes, and
Tom is in a really good spot. He didn't have to fight for his spot in the queue, and he's going to get in third anyway.
yep,
Uh,
yep. And I mean, yeah, really, it's just been a great start. He's got a crap load of food. He's got a crap load of food on the board too, as well.
yep, yeah, tons of food incoming.
Yep.
He's got kind of a stone buyer going, and he's going to be able to grab one of these big stacks of resources that are out there,
Hmm.
which is what tends to happen when there's late family grow. The stacks kind of build up big, and he'll get something good.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
So I actually saw Manentites in the chat, so I'm gonna message him and because I'm sure he would like to jump in here,
Oh, sure.
especially if you're gonna have to be leaving. What's your?
Oh well, they got started quicker than I thought, so I would have to leave in an hour, and they'll probably finish before that.
Oh,
So
okay. So we
I
got
just
lots of time.
yeah, I just wasn't sure how quickly they'd go,
Yeah.
and they've been going at a really good pace here, so
Hmm.
probably fine.
Yeah. So do you think in a late family growth game like this, what's the value of building the fourth, like a fourth room in your house?
Yeah, so that's definitely a tricky one. I feel like it's pretty risky to go for it, and you can do it. If you're sure you're going to be able to get that family grow kind of in a particular order. Um, but the late family grow, it's going to come that second growth is going to come so late that I often will try and just say, is it better for me to solidify my food engine, stay in three rooms with three people,
Yeah.
and set up a pretty farm? Yeah, you kind of have to be able to force it through, like have a ton of food and be safe in that situation, to be able to say, all right, fourth room is going to work out fine when there's late family grow.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation. But I don't see. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would say anyone is in a good spot to do that. Maybe jonswar, if anyone.
Yes.
And because he has the resources, he has a fair amount of food, um, and also since he's growing last, if he can somehow force a double grow, then that's kind of what he needs to really get back in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, for John's Ward to have building the fourth room worth it, he would probably have to do so. Like he would have to build the room in the round that he family grows.
Right, yeah, so you build family grow and then the next round family grow again.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree that because otherwise he's gonna get jumped. Like if anyone else chooses to build another room, they're gonna be able to do it before him, which is
Right.
put his fourth person even further behind.
Oh, so let's look over at Axiom here. He actually played another occupation here, another G5 occupation, which is a nice combo with his first one. He played the gardener's wife,
Yep.
which is whenever you grow your family, you get a vegetable
Mhm.
from the supply. So that's kind of nice with his cabbage lover,
Yep.
although it appears he ate cabbage without putting clay on it. Oh, that's too bad. Yep. So he ate his first veggie already and didn't have a clay to
Yeah.
get bonus points.
So he's not getting the most benefit out of it. Now, Gardner's wife, I wonder. Um, we did guess that perhaps Axiom has a card that's better than Village Elder or Mason. I would wonder if you have. Sorry, what am I trying to say? I would wonder if he has something that'll let him go on family growth. with that gardener's wife play, especially.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah,
so like maybe head of the family, I would guess.
could be. Although I think he would have
I think he would have
played
played
that
it.
already.
Yes, I agree. I think he would have played it for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
But
just wondering,
possibly.
is he gonna get more than two vegetable out of his gardener's wife?
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah. So he's got one, but can he actually get the two more family grows
Hmm.
that he could possibly get? Because generally, with a card like that, you kind of don't want to play it unless you can maximize it for sure.
Yeah. Or yeah, exactly. You want to have some plan to do so at least. I
Right.
guess if you're not food starved, it's just as good as going on take a vegetable and usually better.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, another thing is that it got him the second occupation for raspberries there.
that's very true.
And
Yeah.
and of course, raspberries is an excellent card. Just 1 point and then 3 food in the future, as long as you can cover up those spots.
So we have another G5 card from Tom, and I
Oh,
love this
wow.
card. I love this card.
Yeah.
Stone Sculptor, you turn a stone into a bonus point and a food.
Yep.
So basically, when he buys the stone, he's not losing out on the food if he can convert it.
Yeah,
Um,
so once per harvest,
yeah,
right? So,
once per harvest, yes. So once in each round, he can buy and not lose out on the food and get a bonus point for doing so. So
yep, so pretty much that's 4 points for him right off the bat, because he'll have the stone, although that's going pretty big in the stone strategy here.
yes.
I'm now getting a little skeptical that he can get all of his Mason and Mansion out. But again, I never doubt Tom. He'll pull something out, probably. Um, and now we have in the comments, Manentites is saying that he's surprised that Tom didn't go for that in stage one, which I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe he was
see.
thinking that getting the well out was just that much more important with the well
Yeah,
carrier. But yes, yeah, it is surprising that he's playing it it is kind of late. Unless he's calculated the total amount of stone he needs in the game and said
mhm,
that he was going to need that 2 extra stone. Um, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So jonswar went and built some big fences. So I guess he's not going to bother with a second room anytime soon.
No. So
But he'll be able to grab all those animals and have them breeding, which is a good setup.
yeah. So John's Ward looking like he's gonna have a pretty farm. He
Yep.
won't necessarily have a super high scoring game, but he's gonna end up having a solid game, right? With the plowmaker and the ability to take and hold animals.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, he'll probably when he start players here, he'll get a cooking hearth or something, and then he can take these animal grabs, get them breeding, um, and just easily get a bunch of points off of animals. And then, like you said, the flower maker, he's gonna have no problem filling up the rest of his farm with fields, and that's about it. I mean, he'll have a nice, pretty farm,
Hmm.
but that won't get a super high score, but it'll get a solid score. Maybe he's probably got other stuff.
Yeah. So we have Mountain Plowman out from Donba, so he did not random his magician.
Nope.
So he's gonna get pretty much the worst value out of a couple of his cards that is possible, which is too bad. Um,
Yeah, so the mountain plowman is whenever you plow one or more fields, you receive 1 sheep from the supply for each field you just plowed.
yeah,
So he's got that simple fireplace, so that's nice. He'll
they're
get
only
some.
they're only worth one food at the moment though, which
Yeah,
is
he'll be able to upgrade
yeah,
um, at some point. But yeah, it's kind of a mess here. Oh dear. Okay, this is bad for jonswar. Jonswar took sheep first, and did not start player to protect his family grow. And Dunba did take start player, and Dunba can build right
yeah,
here because he's got those resources on the resource dealer. So even though he's got 4 wood in his supply, he can just take one from the resource dealer and build a room. So right now it's looking like jonswar is going to get skipped
yeah.
in the family growth queue, and that is not what he wanted to have happen.
So
I don't think.
do you think that was a misread, or do you think he really thought the sheep was that important to him?
That is a good question. I don't know. The sheep do seem pretty important to him. They, I mean, everyone can cook animals except for jonswar. Uh,
Yeah,
so
well,
he,
exactly. Yeah, he can't even eat them at the moment because he passed up on building the
right? But
hearth.
he'll get. I mean, that was the thing. Like he would get a fireplace or cooking hearth whenever he family grows or start players. He's got the kitchen cabinet,
Yeah.
so he can get the cooking thing whenever. So he probably just felt he needed the sheep, and then he could family grow and fireplace next round. I wonder if he forgot about that. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. Tough to say.
Yeah.
This looks like to me like kind of a forget because he doesn't even have any wood to defend his family grow by building a
Well,
stable here.
exactly. Yeah. So he doesn't have any wood on his farm, so he can't build a stable. And then he might have looked at Donba's thing and just totally forgotten about the resource stealer, or not realized that he could build a room.
Yeah, I mean John Swar's a pretty good player, but he might have missed that, or he's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah,
That's my read.
that's true.
Okay, so he renovated and built the cooking hearth, um, and we'll see if Don Bud does indeed build a room. I think it's kind of bad for both of them if Don Bud builds a room, because this is, I mean, so Don Bud, it's nice to build another room, and then you'll get to grow again, but there's not that much wood left.
Yeah.
Although I guess John Swar's already built fences, so you'll have one less person fighting for the wood stacks.
Yeah.
But this is around the time of game where I start looking for that and saying like, do I want to build another wood room? What's the
Yeah.
situation? How much wood will there be left? Will I get fences?
Right. Um, yeah, I'm kind of wondering, like John Sawyer with that cooking hearth. I am a little surprised he didn't buy a fireplace and then upgrade it with his kitchen cabinet, maybe. Just
Uh,
because he has no resources left to build any more majors at the moment.
right. I think he might have been worried about Donba though, because Donba can upgrade his simple fireplace
Right.
to anyone, and also Tom could upgrade his fireplace to the cooking hearth, and he might have just wanted to make sure
That he
he
got it.
he got it. Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
anyway, Donba does build the room here,
Hmm.
and the when he took start player there, he played the grain bag,
Yep.
which is an interesting one. Just read and a point gives you a point, and whenever you take a grain, you get an additional grain for each baking improvement that you have.
Yep.
So that's kind of nice. He'll be able to kind of
He has.
build up some grain.
It's at least as good as clay scoop when you
Uh,
have a fireplace or a cooking hearth. So
yeah, yeah, the corn scoop. Yeah.
not bad. Um, we also had Oceanographer played for Tom. Now, I wonder if Tom, do you think he's planning on just going plow one field a lot, or was he just playing that because he gets his bonuses from his, like I kind of wonder
Oh, only gives him the clay.
yeah,
Yeah.
like how many actions is Tom going to be able to afford to dedicate to plowing, for example? I wonder if he has the Sunrise Admirer, you know.
Yes, or a plow driver even, although
Although
doesn't look.
he's not gonna get to plow driver. You know what? He might not even get what's his fourth room gonna be?
Oh wait, yeah, that's six occupations. So if he has Mason, that's his last occupation. So
Yeah,
I don't know how he expects to get oceanographer fields plowed. That's kind of strange.
yeah. Wonder if he's given up on the 5 room dream.
Yeah, he might have at this point. Well, we'll see. I mean, he does have stuff coming since he had those really strong miners of Reed Pond and Diamond Mine.
Yeah,
So
that's
he's
true.
got more stone and reed.
Yeah. So do you think you might like he might choose to forego fences, for example, and get that and go for the 5 room combo? Hmm.
Yeah, that's tough though. I don't know.
I guess he just got a
That's not,
big stack of clay, so maybe he's planning on building a clay room.
yeah, that could be it. I guess we'll see what he's up to here.
This makes me kind of sad for Jonswar.
Oh, yep. He didn't really have any shenanigans. He just needed to family grow. So now he takes start player, plays Twibble and Twivel, I think is how that's pronounced.
Yep.
Their G5 card, and after any player, including you, builds at least one wooden room, you receive one food. So I'm kind of expecting him to get 0 food out of that one.
Yeah,
A little late.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's gonna get no food from this at this
Well,
point in
but
the
it's a
game.
point. 1 stone for a point isn't bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Very true.
But that's a little tough. So Donba comes down at the basket maker's workshop, so he's fighting for that village elder here, using up some resources off of his dealer,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and getting more stuff from the branch collector.
Yeah, so maybe he was thinking with the branch collector that he's got enough that will give him like the 3 extra wood he needs in order to fence like 10 maybe.
Yeah. Well, so far it's given him 3 wood, and probably will be a couple more.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, he was just randoming it out to play his pond, I imagine.
That's true.
Oh, Tom did build a wood room.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's, yeah, I think he's going to have a tough time with fences.
Yes.
But, like you said, if he's got Mason and Mansion and can just get enough points.
And you know what he also said? He said he has a minor cloister.
Oh,
So
I forget.
another way, so that's it's the anti-cloister dweller in that you want to put your
Oh,
rooms across, you want to put your rooms horizontally for bonus points.
right. Okay, interesting.
So it's yet another way for him to turn stone into points, which he has more than enough ways to do that already.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe he'll just go for one of those weird, ugly farms with not much fences and just a bunch of bonus points.
Yeah.
Those are always fun to win with.
Especially if you can, yeah, if you are able to pull it off for sure.
Yep. All right, so what else has happened that we've missed? So Axiom has played Stockman
Which is
with,
a little unusual to me.
yeah, I mean, usually you don't just play that on its own. I would think with all of the France and G4G5 occupations, there's probably something else that combos with him building stables.
Yep.
And again, that's going to put even more of a squeeze on Wood, because now Axiom's going to want to build at least 3 more stables
Yeah.
in addition to anything else he wants to build.
Which is kind of why it's surprising to me because he could, fence 13 very nicely right now and then just plan on focusing on plowing and taking animals for the rest of the game.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So he probably has something. It would be my guess.
Yeah.
Something else to combo with stable building. And then what else happened? Jonswar played Market Woman. So at least he's going to be able to get, again, moving towards his pretty farm like we talked about earlier. So he'll be able to get 2 grain with his veggies. And then Tonda finally randomed out his Magician. So he can take traveling players and get his extra food and grain,
Yeah.
and not play an occupation there. So he's had an unfortunate setup here, an
Yeah.
unfortunate order.
Yes. Just the way, like, I think he just didn't really think about how those cards interacted, right? Between the circus manager, magician, and perpetual student. I think it would have been worth certainly for him to get the maximum bonus out of the circus manager and the magician. If you could,
Yeah,
like, because if you compare how many times he could have taken traveling players, magician could have been worth, 5 food, 5 grain, for example.
right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he commented on that himself earlier
Yeah,
in the chat. He just said, "Oh, I sequenced this all wrong,"
yeah.
and
Sorry,
so
I
he
don't mean to
realized it.
pile on him. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, he did kind of get an unfortunate ordering. I think he kind of said that he just figured, oh, maybe he'd get lucky with the perpetual student.
right.
Um,
And then he got Master Baker.
yeah, and he got Master Baker. Although, I think actually he did get magician, but he just messed up the ordering.
Right, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because
Yeah,
he because he got 3 out of 6, right?
he got 3 out of 6, so it should have been the magician, and he even said so, and then he said no, no, never mind. So I guess yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
anyway,
sometimes I think when there are two words in the name, that throws off people who aren't like really comfortable with alphabetical order.
yeah, that
So
could be it.
might be something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, oh, all right. So we see Axiom's now combo with the stables is he's got Animal Welfarist, which is
Cool.
yeah, that's a fun one. That's the France deck one where if you build stables and build fences on those action spaces in a round, then you get one animal of each type.
Yeah. So
So this is going to be a big animal combo.
yeah, so he's going to be able to put his 2 actions in to get 2 of each type of animal, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
quite have
yeah,
enough
if he's
wood
doing
yet,
all
but
of them. Yep, yep. And
but
that's
that
going to be pretty strong.
very neat.
But animal welfarist is always tricky because you have to build stables and fences. The way the card is worded, you actually have to use the action spaces.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to block,
Hmm.
and that can be pretty tough. I've had that happen to me
Yeah.
multiple. You don't use it very often because it's really dangerous. Is how I feel.
Right. Like Donbut could easily look at Axiom who takes stables with his first action and say, you know what? I'm gonna block your fence action in fence 6, you know.
Yep. And it's usually a very good play because having the welfarist trigger is just so strong for that one player.
Yeah. Yeah. We have another new card, interior design.
Oh yeah, we missed that. I missed it at least.
Um, it's another way for him to turn to consume resources.
Yeah, so this is Tom who played
This is
this.
Tom, yeah. So I mean, like being able to turn a wood or a clay into 3 food is quite nice. Stone and reed to do that is fine as well, but there are other things that let you do that. What do you think what's the best way to use this card? Like when would you want to play it, or was this just a throwaway for the village elder from combo?
So I think right now it's a throwaway for the village elder, but definitely there are situations like if you have a clay worker or just some good occupation that's giving you extra stuff when you take extra building resources when you take building resources.
Yep.
So you've just got some extra ones lying around. Then you really can like get a bunch of food. If you get like 2 times, you're able to do clay to 3 food. That's not bad. I mean, and
Hmm.
that can really just be a nice kind of bonus food feeding thing, so you can just get away with doing whatever other things.
Right. Well, especially with a card with anything that makes you want to put lots of improvements, like
Yep.
businessman or whatever. Um,
Well,
interestingly,
Tom did use it.
yeah,
Yep. Turned clay into 3 food.
yeah, which how many food is mansion or how many clay is mansion? 3 clay?
3. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's 3 stone, 3 clay, 3 wood, and 2 reed.
Right. So he is going to need another clay take no matter what to get.
Yep.
Although he does have the oceanographer with 1 clay on the top.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe those will.
Oh, but then he has Mason as well with the seal.
Yeah.
Okay, so he will. So those 2 actions will get him the 3rd clay. Okay. Interestingly, we were talking about blocking the animal welfarist. Axiom chose to go on fences first, and then
Right.
build stables.
But he only built 1 stable and 4 fences, so he didn't go for the
The big
the
play.
full boat. Yeah,
Yeah,
so he gets all of the animals and then another 1 cow from the stockman.
yeah.
So he's got 2 cows and then 1 sheep and 1 boar.
So
He's
that
gonna eat.
seems pretty clear to me that he's gonna try to trigger it again.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
stating the obvious.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's fair.
So this, yeah, I would be really excited to see the mansion come out. I wonder if Tom is gonna get renovation. Actually, do you think he'll get renovation blocked? Like, we've got 3 players at Clay already.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's going to be tough for Donba to get to the
so
4 stone,
yeah, right.
and have Jonswar also get to the 3 stone. So I think well, it looks like Donba's making an effort. So he's taking stone. Um, but I think it's not going to be, yeah, too tricky. I mean, if you think about it, I would expect only between both of them, only one of them gets to reno the stone,
Right.
because the stone buyer's keeping them down.
Yep.
And Axiom will be able to reno as well, since he's already got the clay that he needs. Just needs a reed.
Yep.
So kind of you can count on, 2 other renovations, and then Tom just needs one open.
True.
Uh, so I think he'll have it open. Shouldn't be too hard.
I guess the other thing Donbo might be looking at, he might be, especially with the grain bag, I wonder if he's going to be going for stone oven rather than renovating.
Yeah,
Um,
that could be it. He can build it right now with his resource dealer, actually.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then when he goes on or he takes a grain first, takes 2 grain, and then buys it for 8 food.
Yeah.
So we have Tom getting on plow sow. Um,
Yeah, he gets to take the oceanographer grain and then sow it immediately. That's a
which is pretty cool.
pretty nice little trick.
Yeah.
Well, he's turning his stone into food and points. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tricky. If someone takes that stack of 3 stone, it
Yeah.
might be tough for him to get his
To
reno
get
in.
everything he needs, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, he might be looking and thinking, like, he could read stone food twice, but
yeah,
it would be much better for him to 3 stone and 5 read. Although I would
yeah.
guess Donba probably grabs those read with his basket maker's workshop.
Right.
So kind of surprised that Donba plays a stone improvement here. Maybe he's not planning on going for
No,
an
he's
oven
he's fighting for Elder,
elder,
but
right?
he's also, I think, forgetting about his resource dealer.
Yeah, he could have
He
used
should
the
have,
stone there.
yeah, used the stone from the board, or rather the card.
Hmm.
And I don't know if he also missed his branch collector. He should get a wood from that.
Yeah. I wonder, he seems like he is kind of tilted with how his game went, so hopefully it's not just a matter of him not thinking clearly. Because
Yeah,
that's always unfortunate when that happens, when it's like, well, you could do all these cool things, but you don't because, you're bothered by some other outside the game aspect, or, your mentality is your mental state is off or whatever.
yeah, it could be something like that, but can't say. So now Axiom's taken a good long time to think. Wonder if he's considering going for the welfarist stockman trigger again, or just deciding that maybe taking sheep or cows is good.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking about.
He might be looking at jonswar and thinking that, do I want to pass those 2 cattle to him?
Oh, sure. Oh, right. And again, as you mentioned, they're the 2 in front, right?
Yeah,
Axiom and Jonswar.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's a good point. He might just say, staying ahead of Jonswar will kind of keep him in a good position in the tournament. Oh no, he did something
totally
very
different.
interesting. Yeah, so he played the Ox team here, which is going to let him plow 2 fields. So obviously he probably wanted to start player and take that.
Yep,
This is interesting though. It costs 3 wood. It's not cheap,
yep,
and that means his fence and stable is not going to look so great. I mean, he can still build a fence and a stable, and get his welfarist going,
yep.
but won't be able to cover as many spaces.
So might be an unusual game where we have nobody cover all of their farmyard.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yeah, I was a little surprised Jonswar hasn't been, doing the plow 2 fields very often. And okay, he did. All right.
He does
I guess he
there.
was leaving. Oh, instead of 2 cows. Wow.
Hmm.
Well, like I said, I think he was leaving that late earlier. So now I think he's decided that that's more important than 2 cows.
Yeah. Which is surprising because it's such a good, especially when everybody can eat them. Oh, actually, yeah, everybody can eat the
Yeah, everyone can
cows.
eat them. Yep.
Hmm.
And there they go. Donba grabs them and cooks them right away.
Mm-hmm. We still haven't seen. Do you think if Axiom has, animal welfarist, stockman, and village elder in his first pile, do you think he takes stockman or animal welfarist and passes the village
Um,
elder?
no, I don't. I think Stockman Animal Welfarist is just not a great combo.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I mean, it's like Stockman gives you animals and Welfarist gives you animals, and it's just not so wonderful in my opinion. I
Yeah.
mean, it's okay. I mean, yeah, if you need them out there, then that's fine. But I would rather just, you know, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't put much stock into a combo there. Ha ha pun. So I wouldn't go with that combo over just a straight up strong card like the Village Elder.
Right.
Um, Maybe if it was Silo Builder, an animal welfarist, because Silo Builder is the one where you get grain, veggie for
Yep.
your 1, 2, 3, 4 stables.
Yep.
So now you're covering multiple different cases.
Right. Different
You know,
avenues of
yep,
points. Yes. Right.
yeah. Um, so interestingly, Man in Tights points out, Tom did not family grow here, and took 3 stone instead. So it looks like he really is going to go for, uh, well, the Mason at least.
Yeah.
I think Mansion is not on the horizon. He's just not going to have enough actions for that. Um,
Yeah, I guess mansion is going to depend on how many times people take stone, right?
yeah, but he also needs to get a
Three
wood
wood.
grab.
Yeah.
Oh, just a wood grab, because as you
Yeah.
pointed out, plow one gets a...
Gets
No,
him.
no,
Oh,
the
he
clay
used
is
his clay
gone.
already.
He ate the clay.
Oh,
So he needs to get
jeez.
a wood grab and a clay grab.
Okay. So
Yeah, he
that's
used the
probably
clay,
out of
yeah.
reach.
I think so, but yeah,
Although clay
who
grab's
knows?
not with the pottery, a clay grab is not the worst thing in the world.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like if he takes, 6 clay here or counts on getting 6 clay next round.
Yeah, we'll see. So, kind of getting into the end game here, and
Yeah.
Donba took Family Grow. Um, didn't bother with Plow, so I think he's just not going to bother with Fields.
Yes,
It
so I,
looks
I
like.
I wanted to ask you about that. So the situation Donba's in, there's only 4 fields, 4 plow actions left in the game. Donba's choosing between family growth and plow sow probably.
Yeah,
Um, that's so especially considering that he can fence his entire, like he does have 14 wood, so he can
yeah,
cover all of his unused spaces.
yeah. I mean, I've definitely been in that situation where you just say, I'm not going to prioritize Plow. If it comes around, great, but
Right.
I'm fine just sucking it up, having 0 fields.
Yeah.
That's the way it'll be. And it looks like that's the way it's going to be for him because now Tom takes Plow Sow
Yeah.
just to plow a field and get his stone up oceanographer.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Axiom jumped on start player right away and played Meadow, which is this interesting one. The edge of your farm now forms a natural border for pastures.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's actually really neat. So I was commenting how he was using up all his wood and wouldn't be able to cover his spaces with fences, but of course now he will, because that right edge of his farm is just all of fence
Yeah.
area if he can build one more fence.
So exactly. All he needs is one more wood, or sorry, one more fence in order to cover all that rightmost spot. 2 woods, of course, gives him, the maximum number of pasture points.
Yep.
Um, He would need another wood grab, however, in order to trigger animal welfarist again.
Yeah, I don't think he'll bother with that. I expect he'll get a read somewhere in here, and then his first action next round might be renovate fences,
Right.
would be my guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll fence now and then just family grow
Hmm.
with his action. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
but
very,
yeah,
very
so that
true.
was nice. A good play from him.
Yeah. Do you think Tom's saving his family growth until he can play Mansion?
That could be it. Again, I'm not sure if he has. Yeah, maybe he does have the actions to get that and Mason and the resources. So that could be what he's doing.
Yeah. Because his renovate action is safe. Um,
Yeah, it looks pretty safe now. I don't know. That's the thing. Like, he might as well family grow
to get the
now, though.
actions he need. Yeah.
Yeah. But he might be a little tight on food. He doesn't have a lot more food coming, so maybe he's just being careful with his food. And he also is going to have to pay that 6 food to pay off those beggars from Borrower.
Right.
So I
Yes.
think he might be in a tight food spot, and that's kind of why he's sandbagging this family grow.
Okay.
Uh,
That's a good point.
yeah, I had forgotten about that for a while, too. I was just like,
I mean, he does have, if he can take 6 clay and play 2 improvements, he can turn 4 clay into 10 food with his
right.
interior designer. Although
Oh,
I guess he would
no,
have to
isn't it
play
only...
a clay improvement.
Yeah, you have to have a clay improvement, and you can only pay one
Right.
additional
But
resource.
I'm thinking he has
Oh,
two food, 4 food from his pottery,
right, right, right,
2 more
right, sure.
harvests, and then 2 improvements, theoretically.
Yeah, but they have to have a clay cost. Yeah, you're right about that. Um,
So,
but he's only played 4 miners from his hand,
yep.
so he might very well have something that, and like you said, like he said, one of them is mansion.
Right.
And there also isn't a pile of 3 wood anymore. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm kind of doubtful he's going to get that out.
Yeah. He would probably have to take wood with his first grab next round. Actually, well, I mean, nobody else will be going for wood, so
Well,
maybe he leaves it.
that's true. Well, there's his 6
6
clay.
clay. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. No one else is going for wood, you think. But Dunba had 14 and now took wood to go to 18. It's like, what did he need wood for? Well, he's got something.
Right.
Really, like
That's
I
true.
always wind up in that situation often where it's like, look around. No one needs wood, right? And they start grabbing it. It's like, what are you doing? What are you going to do with that? You going to build stables? Probably have an improvement.
Right. Yeah. That's very true.
So I guess we'll see, what if Tom family grows here. Oh dear. Oh, they're just commenting on the state of the game. Dunba is pretty much admitting he's fully tilted.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Um,
They're saying that they thought he used his stone for the basket maker's workshop,
yeah, that could have
and
happened.
he didn't actually remove it.
Yeah, and he just says, I don't care.
Like not
Unfortunate.
gonna he's not gonna argue. He's just gonna say, yeah, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, he just says, I don't know. Yeah.
So I guess yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess with the branch collector, yeah, it's still only worth that would take. I'm having a hard time seeing what that wood is going to be worth. 2 actions for 2 points, not the. Oh, what is this?
Well, so he did his big fences, left 3 open spots, and he's got 3 wood available.
Yeah. Does he have turn rest plow? Swing plow?
I mean, that's not going to help him here.
Because he's not going to get the plow action.
He's not going to get the plow action. Yeah, he's last player in the next round,
Hmm.
last to act. Um, but maybe he's just going to play a plow on major minor here. Maybe that's what's going on.
Right.
I mean, I kind of would expect that maybe he has a plow, given that he has the mountain plowman,
Right.
um, so that he could kind of plow multiple fields and then get some sheep along with it.
Right. Yeah. Plowing a field is going to be worth 4 points for Tom, but if that means he doesn't get his mansion out, well, then the cost of it would be very high.
Yeah.
Um, because he would get the field as well as the vegetable, which he doesn't have yet. Um,
Hmm. Yep. So Axiom went for Reedstone Food, so he's looking to renovate next round at some point.
mhm.
I would assume he also grabbed enough wood that he can. Maybe he will trigger
Yeah, I think he's going to look to trigger
animal
animal
first.
welfare once more. Yeah.
Okay. So Tom now is playing the cloister. So this is, you mentioned this earlier, but I actually didn't remember what it does. So, this is, yeah, at the end of the game, you receive 1 bonus point for each of the 5 columns of your farmyard that contain a room,
hmm
right? So he's going to get at least 3 from that
And,
for
and
now.
and then he turns a reed into 3 food.
Aha, okay, so he does have, yeah, okay. So he is working on his food situation there.
Yeah. So how many, what's it going to take? It's going to take either him taking 2 stone, right, in order for him to get mansion, or 2 other players taking stone.
Well, he can only buy the first one that's taken.
Right, okay, yeah. So he has to take stone, he has to take wood,
Hmm.
and he has to reno.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, so we'll see if he
he
can pull
he
that off.
might. I mean, he has 4 actions, so he could
Yeah.
plow, stone, wood, reno. It is
Yeah.
possible.
Yep. So Donba played the donkey, so he didn't have a plow after all, but he did have a way to get multiple fields.
hmm
Um, and so now Axiom starts with family grow since he feels comfortable that he'll be able to reno fences.
Yep.
So he'll end up with, a fairly nice farm, lots of animal points, and only with that 1 veg and not many bonus points.
Yep.
And jonswar, as we mentioned, does have a very pretty farm. He's probably going to grab these 2 cow here
Yep.
and get all the animal types, have a bunch of crops, and no points from other things.
Yep. And the 2 people with the quote unquote ugly farms are going to have lots of bonus points,
Yep.
but yeah, not at the cost of not the nicest farms.
Yeah. So Tom went with his first action for the 3 wood. Didn't even bother with plow sow,
Hmm.
which is kind of impressive. So he has decided. I think you're right here. He has completely decided that mansion is where it's at,
Yep.
and anything else can take a walk. I mean, because plow sow, that's pretty big to pass that up. You're right. That's 4 points, really
Would
5,
have been even
six
more. Yeah, it
points.
would have been like 6 points. Yeah.
Yep, 6 points
So
for him.
so I guess with this way, passing up on plow, so he'll be able to family growth. Or wait, he needs to play Mason too. Did I forget about that?
Yeah, he still needs to play Mason.
Okay. So he needs to play Mason, he needs to take 2 stone, and then he needs to reno. Yeah, so he didn't have the actions in order to
Right.
plow. I guess the other thing is he could pass on Mason. Mason is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess Mason's 5 points, which is
Yeah,
about as
that's
good
pretty
as
big.
plow. So,
Mhm.
but I do think plow so, and it would have given him more food too. I don't. Oh well. We'll see. We'll see what he ends up with.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, to me that's a pretty tough call. I think I probably would have just plow sowed because it's guaranteed and
Well,
anything else.
yeah, it's right there. Yeah, because it is possible that both the occupation spots get taken.
Yeah, or something like that. Unlikely. He knows a fair amount of information at this point.
Yeah. Well, so I
But
guess Domba's out of Ox, but
right.
Axiom, we still haven't seen what we would think would be his first pick yet.
Yeah, right.
Wonder if he has Cloister Dweller.
Uh,
I think he would have
he
plowed
would have plowed
differently.
differently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Just looking at the way that he has like those vertical three and yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's possible that he just hasn't got the game hasn't gone the way he thought it would.
that's true.
But Donba does end up getting his plow action, which we did not. There were two plow actions available to him actually.
Yeah,
So
yep. So better than yeah. That was not what we expected. Oh, interesting. This is this is strange. So Axiom just did fence. Uh,
what? Why did he? Is he saving his clay for cabbage lover?
I don't know.
What's he doing?
So I
Oh,
was assuming he'd run out, but
yeah.
and then Tom took the 3 stone.
Oh, you know what? We're forgetting about Scrounger. This
Oh,
is the
right.
situation that we
Of
talked about
course.
when Scrounger came out.
Of
Using
course,
that
of
last
course.
read will
We'll lose him three
will
points, so
lose
he
him
might
three
as well not
points.
renovate.
Yeah.
Right, 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 right. Okay, yes, that's totally what's going on here. Um,
Which
so he
I've
just
forgotten
fenced
about
and
Scrounger so many times in games that it's happened.
yeah,
Like, because sometimes you rely on looking at that scorecard for your opponents to see, global points, and then Scrounger doesn't show up because it's a in development card.
oh,
So I've
sure.
definitely had a couple games where you look in round 13 and you see Scrounger and you're like, I forgot about that guy for the last, 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So jonswar had a fun play. Um, oh, well, that's a little too bad. So he played the grain seller, which lets you buy animals for grain, and then when you play it, you get to harvest. You get to move all the grain in your
Yeah.
fields to your supply. So this
Which,
is a great. I love this card. It's great,
yeah,
except I don't love it in the situation that jonswar is in, where he already has all the animals.
right.
Um, I'm
He
a big
doesn't, it
fan of
doesn't
this
have
card.
room for many more.
Right, yeah. I'm a big fan of that card when you have, a big massive grain engine and then you just don't bother taking animals the entire game and then at the end buy them with all of your grain.
Right.
But it doesn't seem all that useful to him right now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's intentionally blocking an occupation.
Yeah. He might also
Um,
be looking at the so bake. He might have been thinking that he doesn't have too many points left and that so bake is going to be his last
that's
thing to do.
yeah, that's true. I mean, so he'll go back there, get all the food he needs, and then get a couple points off of buying more animals.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not going to get any more points from buying sheep. He's not going to get any more points from buying boar. Now, this is assuming he has enough food from other means, I guess.
Well, he'll be able to bake a
Which he'll
billion.
be able to, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't know. He might not have known that. I guess he knows it
that's
now, but
yeah.
yeah.
So Axiom builds a stable, triggers the welfarist, gets the animals, and so Tom is free and clear to renovate and play his mansion, which he is doing now.
You know what? Axiom forgot his clogs. Renovating would be worth 1 point to him.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
There's the mansion.
Yeah, it kind of seems to me like none of these guys are going to have a great score here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think many things
None
did
of the
not go
games
well.
went the way, yeah, the way that they expected to.
Yeah.
Now, do we see why? I wasn't following terribly closely. Did we see why John's War passed on growing? Like he just thought that he needed 3 sheep, or
I still don't see it. I think he may have just missed it.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't ever figure out if
yeah.
there was a good reason for that.
So looking at the scores, I see Tom at 17. Those are with his two beggars and without his bonus points from, Cloister and Mansion and Village Elder.
Mhm.
jonswar sitting at 32. Not too impressive, but Donba's at 28 with a couple extra from his miners,
Yep.
and Axiom's at 32.
Yep.
So
But he's going to get the
he's
scrounger
gonna get the
and
scrounger,
one bonus point from his cabbage.
right?
Yeah, so it looks like mid-30s for everyone except what did Tom get is the question with all these bonus points and after he pays off the beggars.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Oh, and he doesn't play Mason.
oh, interesting. Oh, he took food.
He took
Wow, he
food with
just
his
needed to
last
feed.
action.
Okay. Wow, so that's only, so he's got 8 bonus points from the mansion, 3 from the cloister, and I think 3 from the stone sculptor. So that's quite a few. I think he'll win this, but I don't think it will be a huge blowout
Yeah,
uh, in any way. I think it's all going to be kind of medium scores, and Tom's probably in the 40s, is
right.
my guess.
Yeah. So I mean, removing the two beggars puts him up what 23, and then he's got 8 points, 10 points, 13 points. Yeah, so he might get to 40.
Yeah. So Don Rose reported his final at 36. Sounds about right. And Axiom also 36.
And
So I mean,
then we see
yeah,
John. What's John's war at? Um,
yeah, but he's
but he can.
converting
Yeah,
grain to animals. I
right.
imagine he's going to hit
37,
36.
36. Yeah.
I would think 36.
Which would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. Yeah. This is
Oh, and Tom gets 37.
37. Wow. So do we have
Oh, I thought he would get
37,
to 40,
36,
but
36, 36? This is unusual.
yeah, well, I mean, it was a late family growth game, so the scores aren't going to be too high to begin with.
Right.
And then
We do
yeah, I
we
don't
do have two four-wood occupations, but
yeah.
which normally increases the point value of everyone. But yeah, it's
Oh, and jonswar also has 37. So it's
so
37, 37, 36, 36.
funny game.
Yeah, so that was kind of a funny game. So yeah, Tom really not making up ground. Neither Tom nor Donba making up ground from that first game
Right.
where he said Axiom and jonswar were way ahead.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so they
so
got a
that's
little closer.
oh oh oh. Tom just
Oh,
said he
okay.
forgot his cloister. Okay, that makes more sense. I was pretty sure he had almost 40. Yeah,
40.
40.
Right. That makes more
Okay, so
sense.
Tom made up a little ground, is what it seems like.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so I guess in the scoring after the 2 games, then jonswar and Axiom are still ahead, but not by as much. So it's kind of still up in the air.
Yep. Yeah. So anyone can win with a big game in game 3.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So I guess thanks Kimball for coming on this with me.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you,
hosting. Thanks for having me.
and thanks to everyone who watched. If you've stuck it out to this point, we're definitely going to be covering more of the tournament. This is to pick cards for G4G5, which are going to be included in the new standard base game of Agricola, which is going to be published in 2016. So if you don't own a copy of the game yet and you buy it next year, you're going to be getting all these cards that we talk about in the games online, because I know a lot of people don't don't have the expansions and just have the base game. Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing which ones of these get picked and come out, and
yep.
should be interesting.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks very much. So that's it for us.
Okay, bye everyone.